After coming to Malaysia 2016, one day I called my father, and as we're speaking and having our warm conversation, suddenly I heard a sound of a missile launched by a jet fighter. It was very strong and loud. My father asked me, "Do you hear this, son?" I said, "Yes, I do." And as we're speaking, the loudness of this missile increased as its speed. And instantly the call was off. I sent him a message and I only saw one tick, which means he did not receive anything. He got disconnected. At that moment, to be honest, I felt nothing. I felt like I'm sucked into a void. I kept staring at the moving cars on the highway for about 15 minutes. Hopeless. Only a few minutes later, my father called me. And when he spoke, like that was the worst and the happiest moment I ever had. In 2015, war befell in Yemen, the country where 40% of its population lives under poverty, the country I call home. It felt heartaching to see my little brother and nephews running in circles with utter fear and trembling feet, asking me, "Are we going to die?" I had no answer. This is my little brother Hamza. The middle one is my nephew Harith. And this fellow is my elder nephew Abdul Malik. We all expect to live through sudden hardships every now and then. It's just how life is. But you would never imagine having a full-blown war waged on your country. Losing your friends and family is disturbingly inevitable. But losing them all at once with an airstrike is just a thing of cliché fiction. Homes were ruthlessly bombarded. Schools and hospitals were not spared. Everything beautiful was a target. Survival was not guaranteed. I stand before you all today, not as a survivor. I am, however, in the process of surviving. I stand before you all today as someone who has found a new appreciation to something so essential yet ordinary. A supernatural trait that generates persistence and steadfastness. Patience. Patience is a relatively generic term to explain. We might think of patience as the daily walks to the bus stop, the long nights before studying, before the finals, or having a roommate who keeps talking all the day and nights. Calm down, my friend, it's just an example. Patience in general is the ability to wait despite the difficulties and the hard circumstances. As the United Nations says that Yemen is the world war's humanitarian crisis. People in Yemen lack of all basic necessities like electricity, water, fuel, salary. Can you imagine living in a house without electricity for about 3 years? They actually forgot something called electricity. Some people managed to buy solar panels. How about the other millions who who can't afford the fees to buy it. Or can you imagine living without a gas to cook, without safety, without a fuel, or without a salary? Millions of people lost their job, and the other millions who have their jobs, they don't get paid, they have no salary. Including my parents and most of my family members. So one day, my cousin was doing a charity by donating water trucks, and he invited me to go with him. We went to a rural area called Bir Ahmed, in the capital city of Yemen. And as we entered the town, I saw many kids playing. And when they saw us on the water truck, they vanished. They rushed into their homes. I was surprised, like, what happened? Is there anything wrong? And after a few moments, every kid went out from their houses holding 4 or big bottles and rushing to the place where the water truck was to fill water. I stayed there for about 3 hours watching them. I found a woman and I asked her, "Since when you lack of water?" The old lady told me, "2 weeks, my son." I said, "How did you manage? How did you live?" She said, "Son, we have to be patient." At that moment, I realized the importance of patience. I realized the power of patience. At that moment, I said to myself, I would never complain again about my life or studies. Lacking of basic necessities wasn't the only chaos of war, destruction, devastation, and destroyed regions. Schools, they destroyed schools, hospitals, bridges, airports, seaports, homes, amusement parks, public markets, funeral halls, wedding halls, and everything beautiful that you can imagine. This is my home. I will never forget that moment when I was scrolling down in the social media and reading the news of hitting right next door of my home. I felt racing heartbeats and a really bad state. I rushed to the phone to call my parents, and they answered. They said, "Don't worry, son, we are all right. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. Just some damages to my home." As the United Nations says, that 27 million of population, 3 million people are displaced people, and 8.4 million are threatened to starvation. So people were either dying from starvation, hunger, or by diseases like cholera, and the worst case is getting killed without any reason. Look at this woman. What do you think about this woman? Look deep into her eyes, the pain she had and she's having now. This woman have lost her entire family and she was the only survivor. She and her 2 grandchildren. What kind of pain she had? What kind of patience is she having now? Or how about this little girl? What do you think about her? What do you think happened to her? Or what do you think is she trying to open her eyes for? People are trying to open their eyes to see the beauty of life. But this girl was trying to open her eyes to see the darkness of this world. a world without her entire family. She lost them all at once with an airstrike, and she was the only survivor. Just imagine yourself in her position, a day with your family, and the next day you are all alone. For me, I've lost 3 of my closest friends, my father's cousin, and many neighbors. I'm not speaking about all of these miseries to gain your sympathy. No, I'm telling you this to show you what are people going through. I'm telling you this to acknowledge the virtue, the importance of patience, and how it has the great impact in your life. Many religions have emphasized about patience and its importance. Holy Quran mentioned patience 114 times. Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, and all religions have considered patience as the most valuable trait. Aristotle once said, "Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet." And the fruit of the Yemeni people is sweet. The fruit is gathering families, students, small children going to school and studying in roofless schools, smelling fresh air. It is when the person is very poor and he barely got his small piece of bread, and suddenly he sees a random guy and he invites him, "Come eat with me." It is the bus driver that he barely gets a profit from working, and he gives free transportation to those who need that. It is using the wood instead of gas. It is lighting up a candle and gathering families and friends and neighbors. For me, I'm not exaggerating or bragging, but I have never felt depressed or had a negative emotion since 3 years. As a 2000 study by Fuller Theological Seminary Professor Sarah Ashnicker and the psychology professor Robert Emmons, patient people tend to experience less depression and negative emotions. Perhaps they can cope better with upsetting or stressful situations. They also rate themselves as more mindful and feel more gratitude, more connection to mankind and to the universe, and a greater sense of abundance. Patience and persistence is what makes people satisfied with what they have. No matter how much they struggle or suffer, they turn the simple things into great things. So let me tell you this. If one day one of us woke up and he couldn't find his favorite brand of coffee or food, and he goes like, it's the worst day. Or maybe you have a problem, the Wi-Fi connection is gone for a couple of days and you feel like it's unbearable. Or perhaps you have a problem in your workplace, university, or even your family, and you go like, I hate my life. Don't. Just remember what are people going through and be grateful of what you have. So to conclude up, next time you meet a person you would like to punch them in their face, just be patient. Next time you miss your family and you're late for seeing them a couple of weeks or a couple of months, be patient. Next time you have a problem with your studies, relationships, be patient. Next time you lose somebody, a friend or your family, be patient. Next time you feel sick, depressed or sad, be patient. Thank you very much.